I reckon it's more important than actual foils itself, just because if you can't get on foil, you're not doing it, you know? So the board is definitely a very important part of the learning process. In the car? No.
We can just go around the corner.
Maybe. It's a big board, 810. The bigger one. I actually like the look of the tail. Super stable, hey. Definitely similar nose, but wider to the bullet. Like the top of it.
You can see.
I've never.
That it's really just a morph of the Sultan.
Yeah.
And then now this.
This is I've never actually seen one in the flesh till yesterday. Yeah. So this is Dave's design he's done with Amos called the Cipher. It's more of a kind of beginner downwind SUP. So when I designed the bullet, it was definitely more of an advanced SUP downwind board, and I didn't really consider people getting into it.
Well, it's kind of like you were making it because you were trying to paddle up
Yeah,
to 110, right?
definitely. So it was a lot more advanced board, but this has definitely filled the gap between advanced, well, just people getting into downwind, which is a lot of people are doing it now. So definitely this board is a good board to start on for sure. So this is like the first time I've actually looked at the board properly. And yeah, it definitely looks very stable, especially with the tail a bit wider, and then the flat spot over the whole board is it's definitely going to be stable. So yeah, this is a 810 by 130 litres. So this is a good board for beginners. So I'm gonna teach a guy how to downwind on this board next week. So it'll be actually a really good test to see how he goes first time on a downwind board paddling. So
Why is it so important to have a stable board when you're learning to downwind?
just so you can, so when you start to downwind or get on a board, always it's going to be unstable because you just never ridden it before or stood foot on a board. So having a stable board gives you a better chance of paddling. Well, it just makes the learning process a lot easier. Which is like the start of it's always the hardest because it's so foreign. So if you can give yourself a better chance to get up on foil, the faster you can do it, the faster you can progress, I guess. So definitely a board. I feel like it's always overlooked when you're downwinding. I reckon it's more important than actual foils itself, just because if you can't get on foil, you're not doing it, you know? So the board is definitely a very important part of the learning process. Yeah, I've seen a lot of guys get on boards too small or too narrow at the start, and it takes them way longer to actually learn how to downwind or get on foil. So definitely a wider, longer board is definitely the go-to, especially these days. Now we've all shapers and stuff, now we're catering for the learner to get into downwinding. So I'm seeing guys start downwinding and doing it within a month or two, which was unheard of when we started foiling. It took me 4 months to properly do it. Yeah, it took us ages. So now guys are doing it within, if they're dedicated, they'll do it within 6 weeks properly. So yeah, it's all got to do with the equipment as well. So equipment's super important, and it makes the process easier and less painful. But not to say there isn't going to be pain. There's always pain, but it's less painful. It'll be more fun.
Do you think 810's too far on the spectrum? Do you think length's your friend?
I reckon for beginners, length is your friend. Just so you can, longer equates to paddling faster through the water, and then which means you have a faster paddle speed, so it engages the foil earlier. So yeah, I reckon length isn't 8-10 isn't too crazy for a beginner. But yeah, I guess your aim at the start isn't to be high performance, so it's just kind of feeling the foil out. So length and width is definitely, and volume is super important. You'd rather have too long of a board than too short of a board, for sure. And same with the volume. It's way more volume than you expect. So definitely. So yeah, kind of with downwinding, you want to go bigger than you expect, just so it makes it way easier, way easier. So yeah, definitely this board, I haven't ridden it yet, but it definitely looks like it's going to be really stable and paddle through the water fast, and the nose design will it's similar to the Bullet, but not as aggressive. So it will glance off the water easy, and it won't be sticky as well when it touches down. So
I think one key thing is it's quite thin. What's the thickness do?
Oh, the thickness is 5 9/16, so it's actually not that thick. Definitely a thinner board will make you feel more connected to the foil, so you feel it, and there's less delay. It's not as corky. Sits in the water better as well. Yeah, if you can get away with your board not being thinner, it's definitely helps as well. So that's why you go longer and a bit wider. So
give us a few hot tips with people who are getting into downwind with paddling on a board. Just rattle them off.
Foam is your friend. That's my main motto. And then don't go too narrow. Too narrow means you can't stand on it, and then it means you can't actually put power into your strokes. So foam, more volume, and then go wider and longer. Yeah. So
give us a few hot tips. Give them for the customers. Come on.
Hot tips. I can't give it all away.
You buy a board, you get a tip.
Oh yeah. I reckon that's the hot tips. Just trying to think. Yeah, go bigger with your board and a bigger foil at the start. Oh yeah, great. Actually, one of the, especially paddling up in practicing paddling up, do more starting strokes, 4 to 8 strokes before you start porpoising the board. Having the board speed at the start makes it easier for you to get on foil when you're going through the transition. Instead of paddling and pumping straight away, create a lot more strokes, or do a lot more strokes, so it creates a lot more board speed through the water, so the foil engages earlier.
Which is what the board's made for.
Yeah, exactly.
The board's made to go fast through the water, so keep the board in the water.
That's it.
Instead of trying to pump
That's
it
it.
straight away.
Yeah, keep the board in the water for longer through your strokes, and then when you feel like you got enough speed, that's when you start to do the paddle pump and porpoising your foil out of the water. So that's what I do with small foils, especially.
And one tip when you're up, I think a lot of people when they're up, they freeze.
Yeah, this is the biggest thing I've noticed with beginners is when they get on foil, they stop paddling. So when you're, especially in the bumps, like when I get onto foil, I'll paddle pump for like 5 to 10 strokes at least, just so I can get the foil up to speed, and then I don't have to like struggle pumping. Yeah, that's a big thing I actually noticed is guys they'll try and foil out of it. They won't paddle and pump, and when you try and foil out of it, you just struggle. So yeah, keep paddling and pumping at the same time, which is it's definitely a technique that's you got to learn, but it definitely helps a lot. And you see the best guys doing that, especially like in the races. Like everyone's paddle pumping at the start for even up to a minute, just to getting your board and your foil up to speed, and then you kind of like settle into it. So yeah, there's 2 sizes for the downwind model. There's an 8.6 by 120, and then there's this one, 8.10 by 130. And then there's a couple of surf SUP sizes. I'm not sure what they are. They're smaller, obviously. They're around the 6 to 7 foot range. But if you're looking at the downwind, there's 2 stock dimensions, which is 8.10, 130, and 8.6 by 120.
Probably covering everyone from 70 kilos
yep,
up to 90
definitely.
kilos.
Yeah, if I was 90 kilos, I'd be on the 130, sorry, leaderboard. But yeah, it's quite like, for its size and volume, it's actually a good weight.
It's pretty balanced. Hold
yeah.
it up like that. It's really balanced.
So, yeah. Yeah, I reckon it's about, this is probably like 6 kilos for this size board. That's bloody light. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be teaching on this one. This is a good board to teach on and coach, especially beginners getting into it. Sweet, easy.